It's right at the top of the best space games in the world right now, and if not everyone agrees with that, I'm sure most of us can agree that it's certainly among the most famous. So, we've got another brand new free update for No Man's Sky, and not only has it become a game that it promised to be, but it has gone far beyond that. The latest update then is called The Swarm. Also, my thanks to Hello Games for sponsoring this video. Do check out the links in the video description where you can find out everything you need to know. This is a great time to not only take a look at the new content, but also to take a look at the game as a whole, because if you haven't played it for a long time, or if you have never played it, then now is a time to get into there for sure. Now, there's a lot to talk about with this update. It's a new expedition, but what really hits home is how it has all been presented. For starters, just look at that intimidating object right there in the sky. So, as with all No Man's Sky updates, this one was pretty much cold dropped. It just come out of nowhere, complete surprise to everyone. It arrived on the 27th of May. It is a major update, and actually the third one of 2026 so far. It's following on from the Remnant update as well as the Xeno Arena update, and that one, gotta catch them all. Probably know exactly what I'm getting at there, and we'll also talk about that in this video as well. Now, in this update, the headline feature is an 8-week time-limited expedition. This is Expedition 22. But the whole thing is packaged around a permanent space combat overhaul, and that's a really nice thing because whilst a lot of people have enjoyed space combat in No Man's Sky for quite a while now, it was still nonetheless one of the weaker areas, so seeing some focus placed here is certainly very appreciated. Incidentally, it's probably also worth pointing out that we are approaching the 10th anniversary for No Man's Sky in August. Hard to believe it has been 10 years since 2016 when this title was released. So, Sean Murray has spoken about this update. He calls it the biggest and most epic space battles to date, and he isn't wrong. And that obviously inspired the title of this update, The Swarm, and you can see swarms happening on screen right here. Buzzing around my ship are these little swarms of tiny fighters. You actually can target them as a single combined unit, so you don't need to destroy each individual member of the swarm here, you just take down the swarm as a whole. But perhaps more ominously is the mysterious, somewhat Death Star-like construct that we can see in space here. Now apparently this does have the ability to destroy space station-sized objects. I haven't seen that myself just yet, and that's largely because most of this is scheduled for later in the expedition. So, No Man's Sky, what's your thoughts on all of this? Let me know in the comments section below, because this is a game that has fundamentally shifted a lot over the last 10 years. I played it on this channel back in 2016, and yes, I was here making videos back at that time. I think by the time this released, I'd been on YouTube for about 2 years. So yeah, 12 years at this point. Like a lot of people, I dive into No Man's Sky in sessions and multiple times throughout the year. Might go away from it for quite a while and then come back when we get these new massive content updates. And each of these updates, well, they kind of stack, don't they? They bring content that comes into the game and then remains firmly a part of the game. And there's been many of these. Some have been base building, some have been underwater bases. There's also been a number of graphical overhauls, as you'll no doubt see. The visuals now are very, very nice indeed. But also some planetary tech overhauls as well, making the planets just continuously better. Arguably my favourite update of all time though was the Voyagers update, which introduced your own spaceship building, along with the ability to walk around inside your ships. And yeah, that also meant you could go completely EVA anytime you wanted, just open up the airlock and jump out into space. Alternatively, you fly your ship high up into the atmosphere of a planet and just jump out the back and dive all the way down to the surface. There's also been a number of unexpected updates, most notably the Pokemon-like update that arrived back in April. Yeah, there's a lot of monsters and creatures dotted around the galaxy. You can now capture them and play them inside your own arena battle. So yeah, that was a surprising thing to see for sure. The whole point here that I'm trying to get at though is the idea of an ongoing living space game. It's something that a lot of other titles out there aspire to. We've got a lot of big space games that kind of suggest they're living, breathing games that evolve and change over time. And yes, they certainly do, but none of them are quite to the extent and degree that we see in No Man's Sky. Hello Games, literally in an entirely different category here, and yeah, it really does show. My feeling then on all of this is less of about focusing on all of these different content drops. I could give you a massive list of all the updates that have been here since day one, but I'd rather focus on what this all means for the game collectively. And as you'll know from my channel over the years, I really too tend to focus on the feeling of games, the vibe. The reason that some games might make us feel like an industrial specialist, whilst another game might make us feel like the embodiment of Han Solo. With No Man's Sky, it does have its own unique feel, and for me, that is very much about a living, breathing galaxy. Not in the sense of a galaxy that has its own economy and a full simulated trade or anything like that, but rather something far more fundamental and foundational. It's a game, it's a galaxy that was built from the ground up with exploration in mind. And when you're an explorer, the one thing that you want to do is always discover something new, something interesting, something unique, or something that has just changed. Sandbox games, of course, are perfect for that. They're absolutely the definition of that. But what really makes No Man's Sky quite unique for this is the amount of times it improves, evolves, and changes throughout each year. It means that as you're exploring this vast, massive galaxy, there's always going to be something new to discover, always something new to play. A different way to understand the game, or different systems to get used to. And perhaps that, more than anything else, has now become the identity of what No Man's Sky represents to me. I mean, other games may have new seasons, they may have battle passes, they may have small expansions that release from time to time, or other types of DLC, but No Man's Sky handles this in a very different way. And that's the sensation, the feeling that there's always something new waiting over the horizon. That the game you're playing today is not the fully finished version of the game, not because there's gaps in the design, but rather because there's always something new being added in. And this expedition, Swarm, is a perfect example. As you will probably be aware if you have played expeditions before, if not, it's worth explaining to you. The way this works is that you have phases in the expedition and you have to complete various different tasks to get through different steps. So each phase is broken down into a number of steps. When you complete all of those steps, you'll move on to the next phase. Think of it perhaps as a little mini campaign, although this one does go on for a few months. It's also community based, which means you're going to have to work together to achieve particular targets, although of course you can play this completely solo. Incidentally, that reminds me, I did see a comment a few weeks ago in one of my YouTube videos where I mentioned No Man's Sky, where people were quite surprised to find out that the game is now multiplayer. So if you haven't been keeping an eye on the game for the last few years, you probably won't be aware of a lot of the content that's turned up over that time period. Or 10 years is a long time, isn't it? So yeah, for a long time now, No Man's Sky has been multiplayer. You can team up with your friends, go out and do quests together, and all that sort of thing you'd expect from a typical online MMO style game. Although, technically speaking, I guess it's not an MMO in the truest, strictest sense that you may have had from the older traditional days, but nonetheless it is a massively multiplayer online game, and one that you can also play offline and completely solo as well. Now, the thing that makes this expedition perhaps more unique than any other is the way it's been framed, the way they're just talking about this, the fact that it's focused on fighting, not exploring, and that is a big shift for the game. Pretty much everything we've seen until this point has always been about exploration in various different flavours. Although, of course, you do fight sentinels, pirates, and various different other things, so it's not like combat has been completely absent from the game. So in this update, players are divided into 3 competing teams, and this is also new for No Man's Sky. These 3 factions are the Royal, the Sage, and the Weaver. Each of these represents a fragment of the Traveller's soul. The Traveller is essentially the character you all play. To get access to the new expedition, you have to start a new save, and when you start that, you get asked a bunch of different pseudo-philosophical questions. And depending on how you answer these will depend upon which faction you actually get dumped into. The goal of all of this is to build the prismatic core, and that's a device capable of weakening and defeating the swarm. All of this leads to a boss fight ultimately, but that point is going to have to be unlocked by the community before you're going to be able to achieve that, because this boss, the Hive of Glass, is extremely deadly. All of this then is to say that essentially right now there's a new campaign in the form of an expedition that you can jump into and play. You can play this solo or you can play it with your friends, and in all regards it is very much a community expedition. And it's something, as with many of the updates, that changes the shape, the feel of No Man's Sky. Not in the way that undermines what it is, but rather in the way that just keeps building and enhancing what this galaxy is all about. So do let me know all your thoughts and feelings in all of this in the comments section below. Have you had a chance to try the Swarm update out yet? Love to hear from you. Do check out that link in the video description. And my thanks again to Hello Games for sponsoring this video. Do take care, and I'll catch you next time.